Hello and welcome to Drunk Tolk, the Lord of the Rings podcast book club for people who like Lord of the Rings and at this stage probably like book clubs as well, or certainly like this one. Anyway, I'm your host Ross. I'm back in the game after a week hiatus where I was so admirably filled in by the Bull McCabe who's here with us today. Bull, how are you?
I'm a mouthful of crisps.
You've a mouthful of crisps.
Move on. Next person.
Move on. Oh, gee, like, it's all gone to his head now. No, I'm waiting for you. We'll wait.
Okay, we'll cut that bit out. Sorry.
No, we won't. We'll cut that
I thought you might go around the room.
No, how are you?
I'm good, Ross. How are you?
Yeah, good. Did you enjoy being a host?
No. Stressful.
Plain and simple.
You did a great job, though.
Sure, look, you make it look easy, Ross. What can I say?
Well, this is it. Thanks, Bull. But I don't believe you. And we're just got the regular troop here. So beside us as well is the little brother, Oisín. Oisín, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks, Ross. How are you?
Yeah, not so bad. Glad to be back.
Yeah,
glad to be back.
Last week was a bit of a roller coaster, but it was fun. But
how did he do in my absence? Anyway, I didn't get to see all the bits that were cut out, you know.
the bits that were cut out were just mouthing about you, probably.
Yeah, probably well earned. And our final member of the pod here is the General, Owen Duffy. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Yeah. Did you enjoy last week? Was it better without me? It probably was, wasn't it? You can say it. It's fine.
It was a change.
You a bit insecure, yeah?
I'd say that.
Bit insecure. I am a bit insecure, of course.
No,
it was fine.
For his first time.
We like you better. Just
for Will's first time, he did do well. He did better than I expected.
Well, he's trying to interrupt me here so he doesn't get the reviews live on air. So I assume he's not too happy about it himself. Bit of projection as well.
I didn't like it, no.
But no, it's a learning curve. It's your first time. We'll let you.
Well, the fans loved it. The Patreon went wild. And please follow us on all the social medias and check us out on Patreon. There's probably no spots left on the Patreon after last week. Such was the popularity. I don't know if that's how that works, actually.
Yeah.
So we go around here. Oisín, what are you drinking?
Yeah.
Are you still on your Central European voyage, or is that long done?
It might make a comeback very soon because I am drinking what's left in the fridge. Busy week, so I didn't actually go the offie because I thought I had a few beers in the bottom of the drawer, but it's just like one of everything I've previously had.
Oh, thank God. I thought you were going to say I'm drinking milk and leftover like egg yolks.
No, fermented, cooked in your own.
I got an orange juice here.
No, so I'm back on my European tour technically with the Czech yolks and a Coors Light and some other shit like that, you know. Just
back in the Coors.
Whatever.
Coors Light's from Czech Republic.
No, but just different stuff. That's what a collection of tap.
A collage.
Yeah.
Ah, very good. Owen Duffy, let me guess, you're on some kind of local microbrewery, Clongriffin, cider made from crab apples.
No, you'd be wrong. This is actually the first week where I've been busy with work and we didn't do any shopping, so I couldn't go and get a fancy beer, so I'm drinking Rockshore.
Rockshore's not bad.
Yeah, hey, look, it'll do the job. We got 8 for $12.50 and I'm supping away here.
Yeah, you've had it on the pod before.
I have, yeah, so I won't mention too much more about it. It's Grand Value, made by Guinness, and yeah, it's good stuff.
Very good. What are you drinking, Bull, anyway?
I'm back on
I have a story here, actually, now I might go into. Just a wee joke, go on.
On the White Hag Fionn juice again, 8.5%, so I probably only need about 1 can. And judging by how it went last week, I'm taking a bit easy. You might have heard the old slurs. Not actual slurs, but like slurring words.
Well, lads, I'm taking it easy myself, because what I'm drinking will be a surprise to everyone. Just a glass of water.
What?
What?
No
You
alcohol.
don't drink alcohol all the time. No, I just wasn't in the mood. Do you ever get like that?
Not on a Friday night when we're doing the podcast, no.
No, it's a bold move, Cotton. But
It is a
just,
bold
you
move.
know, let everyone know. Sometimes you don't have to always drink, lads.
Yeah, it's sponsored by Diageo this episode, so come on, Ross.
That's good.
Come on, lads.
100%. Are we actually sponsored by Diageo?
Well, we hopefully after this now we will, because they can see how sensible some of us are drinking.
Well, peer pressure's for gimps as well. So
Yeah,
I'll probably
yeah.
have a can next week. I just wasn't feeling
You're
it.
the designated
you know?
host, are you?
Designated host here to drive us through this fucking chapter.
Safely.
You saw the mess I got us into last week, so you're like, not letting that happen again.
Yeah, we needed yin and yang, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, just.
Did you just forget to go shopping, Ross?
No, I just had my dinner, lads, and I can't be arsed going to the fridge. I was late to the podcast already. I've got 2 Canadian in there and they don't look nice. So I was like, no, Joe, fuck it. I'll just say a good piece about, mental health and fitness and a beer is bad sometimes, but it's good sometimes, and that's okay.
Appreciate
or
that.
something.
Yeah, no, I can stand by that. Fair play to you.
It's your
Thanks, Bull.
This is your little Greta Thunberg moment, is it?
No, I just thought it was great irony because we're the only chapter in the entire trilogy that's based in a pub. So I didn't even bring in a fucking booze. Right, no worries.
You're the Mary to our group. The sensible.
Yeah, but fucking right there, yeah. Here, good reference. Good reference. For any of our listeners who are reading along, they'll know what that means.
Good read.
Good read though. Did you like this chapter, or shouldn't you like it?
Yeah, I like this chapter. It's different.
Who's doing the 20-second summary?
I did it last week, so I don't know.
Owen Newman did it last week.
Owen did it last week. I'll do it this week then.
I know your name is Owen.
You forget who you are.
Yeah. Oh, it's Owen Newman, not Owen me.
That's what we said last time. Owen, who? Me? Him?
Right, Duffy or Newman?
Right, Duffy, go on away.
So the lads go to the Prancing Pony. I'm getting counted down here, by the way, if anyone can't see what's happening. They meet Strider.
It's a lot of pressure.
There's so much more pressure now when it's like countdown music. They meet Strider and Frodo puts the ring on. He disappears. The lads in the pub go wild and like, they didn't come around here for this, lads. And
you didn't come here for this.
You made a hymn to that.
I watched that.
You did a great job, Owen. Lovely stuff. You got it all in there.
That is pretty much what happens. We'll talk about the ins and outs of what happened. But...
Yeah. The boys go to the pub is the long and short of it. Yeah. The long and short of it. Frodo falls over, puts the ring on, etc., etc. This famous scene in the movie, anyway, in fairness. I like the movie scene. It comes in pints. That's not in the book. That's good writing. Don't know if Peter Jackson is listening. I'm sure he is. But good job to you and your writing team there, Pete. Hope to see you back on top form after that disgrace of a trilogy. Say no more about it. I just want to start off, boys, with this chapter here. Pay a little respect on the name Tolkien. I think it starts class. Little, 2, 3, 4 paragraphs just describing the Breeland.
Yeah.
Jeez, it's good. Puts it right there. Describes the Rangers. Bit of foreshadowing to the man we're about to meet. Memories fade the grass was something that stood out to me. Just you sometimes forget that besides being a mad bastard who invented orcs and this kind of thing, Tolkien was the boy. Like,
good writer, yeah. Good read.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good read. Would you live in the Breelands, Ocean?
Would I live there? I don't know. They like passing strangers and listening to stranger stories, but I don't know if they actually do anything themselves. They just
sit
like
there. Navan.
Yeah,
they wouldn't have you. They don't like outsiders.
Yeah, they probably won't have me, to be honest.
No. Who would though?
Good question.
Poor Lamoury, what a soldier.
God bless her.
I think the Breeland sounds pretty good. I mean, they've got a walled, not a great gate now, in fairness, as we see, but they have got, their security is down to somewhat degree. They've been there since the dawn of time, or at least they claim.
Yeah.
So,
what's the point in security if,
he just lets you in?
Whatever you're trying to keep out is able to climb over the wall,
just hop the gate,
How big is this gate?
That didn't happen in the movie. No,
but I wish it did.
No, and that's quite important.
This is what I wanted to play, actually, is a game of spot the difference. How many whatever about the last few chapters, you can say, oh, well, that didn't happen in the movie and that happened in the book and that's good and I like this. This is 100% spot the difference, There's so many differences.
But there's always going to be lots.
But what that makes such a big difference, I was thinking, because why was the Nazgul following them? And why did you just not get them outside? Why did he let them in?
I'm fairly certain he wants the ring.
Yeah, no, but why did he not get them before they went in there? If he was following them along that path, just get them there. They're tired, they're in bits.
Maybe they want to cause a scene or something, waiting for backup.
Oh, come on, man. They're 4.
Was it a Nazgul? I always thought it was Aragorn just chasing them just to make sure
I
he's
thought...
following them in.
No, because he's already in there.
But it doesn't say he's already in there. And I thought next chapter, I thought I read something. Now...
Why would he hop the gate? They know who he is. He's
I know,
famous.
Yeah.
There's Longshanks. There he goes over the wall again.
Because he can. Because he's like, why would I have that conversation? Do you know when you're just sick of talking to people that you're at the end of the day, you've worked a long day.
You don't want to talk to old Harry.
I'd rather hop the fucking gate than talk to this cunt.
So, I mean, it starts out fairly similar to the movie. Like, the conversation is almost word for word that Frodo has with the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, our businesses are own. All right, you cheeky little bastard. All right. My job to ask business the questions, yeah. And then the only big difference is that a black cloaked figure hops the gate behind them. And what I want to ask is, why the fuck did they go to the pub then? They seen him.
They didn't see him.
They didn't see him.
Did they see them, or was it just written? I think it was just written.
It was a narrator.
Like, he hops the gate, like a figure hopped the gate behind them, and they kept walking. But it wasn't like...
It was my understanding that like we're getting narrated from Frodo's point of view.
I didn't think that now.
No, not necessarily, because the first few paragraphs are about like a narration of Bree, which Frodo mightn't have known. So it's a narration of the chapter by Tolkien. Anybody?
No, you could be right, but yeah, from my point of view, they didn't see him, and he snuck over.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Creepy though.
Yeah, very creepy.
They're not long out in the Barrow Downs, and already the boys are hot on their tail. I suppose you'd be looking at the gate at Bree if you're looking anywhere. It's going to be watched, like.
That's the path they're going along.
You would go anywhere to get away from where you'd just been. They've nearly been murdered twice, once by a tree and once by a fucking tomb.
Yeah.
You know, they just want real people and live people around them for once.
Sam doesn't though. Sam's like, let's get out of here. I don't like this.
Oh my god, that was brilliant. He feels sick. He feels physically sick at the height of the building.
It's too big. Yeah. Buildings aren't supposed to be that size.
No.
2 stories.
There must be some small buildings around here we can stay in, Mr. Frodo.
Yeah.
But here's a man with priorities. Like, no, we were told to go here by the only man we could trust so far on our whole journey, and he said, go into this pub. But it's too tall, so we actually couldn't. Okay, that's a dog for you.
Yeah.
That's a dog for you. Just had no interest in going in. So they go into the Prancing Pony. And this might sound stupid, lads, but the sign is described, as a pony dancing. And that was the first time the penny kind of dropped me. He's like, oh yeah, Prancing Pony. Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
But he specifically said it was like an overweight pony, like a fat one. And I was like,
fat pony.
Bit strange.
Fatty Lobkins.
Yeah. Tolkien got something against fat horses. I don't know what's going on.
Oh, he loves them. He just likes to overfeed horses.
Yeah, maybe.
He's a feeder.
Yeah, only with horses though.
And doesn't the sign also say at the bottom, by Barleyman Butterman, whatever his name is, Barleyman Butter?
Oh yeah.
Barleyman Butterman.
Like I'm your
Butter
host.
bar.
Like we should do. This is Drunk Talk by Ross Prime.
Yeah. Brought to you by Sean McGabe.
One time.
Yeah. Well, is that the great... I can't decide if it's the greatest or the worst character name in the history of character names. Barleyman Butterbar, the man who owns the bar.
Yeah, it's a bit say what you see like, isn't it?
Barleyman. That's not even two shades away from barman.
That's basically his parents telling him what his job is going to be when he's older. That's like you being called like carpenter or fucking...
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's the...
There's Man United striker Pryle just born there last night.
You
very
rich
well.
lad.
Is it an awful name then? Is that where we're landing on this? Or is it brilliant?
No, I don't think it's awful. I think it's quite a nice name. Now, there's someone else in that bar who has an awful name that stood out to me in this chapter.
Go on.
That's his hobbit employee called Knob.
And why is knob
Yeah,
a
that's-
funny word though?
Now, I think we all know that. I'm not going to say it now.
Well, our international listeners might not. They might think you're talking about a door handle.
Yeah, true. But I think anyone with a bit of sense knows that when the word knob, it's
Funny to say. It's funny.
It is. It's first of all, it is funny to say, and is it onomatopoeia like knob?
Well, it is the verb. You can knob somebody. Yeah, you can.
I think that's enough explanation of what we're talking about. It's an appendage that you knob people with. And, I think that'll do.
Oh,
Yeah.
knob.
Yeah. And I think, did he have a brother called Bob?
Yeah, Bob and Knob.
Yeah.
Bob and Knob.
Yeah, one of them did better there. Robert and Nobbert. Like, how does that work? Like,
Yeah.
oh, Knob. Absolutely class. Absolutely class. Bar the Man, Butter Bar.
But I do like the name.
What happens if he wanted to be a dancer? Like
Butter Bar. Butter Bar, or like a sweet maker.
Speaking of the Prancing Pony, I was only thinking that today. I think I texted into our little WhatsApp group there. Of all chapters we've read so far, this chapter here has a lot to fucking answer for. It has a lot of influence. Like taverns or inns didn't exist, at least not the way they're described here. There was no pubs back then, or if there were just pubs. It was more likely just different, you know what I mean? But now it's a fucking staple of the genre. Has anyone ever played Dungeons and Dragons?
No.
Ocean, you have with me.
I've played once or twice. I've had a few games.
Always starts in a tavern.
Yeah.
Always.
But
starts.
this is a made up place, like where dragons exist, and there is.
Oh,
no
I know,
kings,
but
so,
what I mean is
it's not meant to be medieval, is it?
No, of course not. But what I'm saying is Game of Thrones. Sure, how often is Tyrion in the pub? Or Wheel of Time. They spend half their time in inns or in basically any fantasy game and anything at all.
Star Wars even.
The cantina, all that shit. It all, as far as I can tell, stems from this. Boys in the pub here, the paranoia of people looking at you.
This is where the odd people come to meet to chat. This is where you hear the gossip with all the different people from all over.
But the south there's trouble in the south, and that's definitely not foreshadowing. And like, we don't trust those ranger folk. Like, thanks. Let's have a little chit chat here.
So you think Tolkien created the whole pub fucking gossip set?
Pub vibe.
In story making, like? Or?
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Definitely in fantasy, he 100% did, and it's this chapter.
Right, okay.
But like he's done so much research on the names that he puts to things. Like he uses all the old Norse mythology. Like he's great in his etymology. Do you think he'd skimp on the history? Because did he go to college for history or something?
No,
didn't he like
English teacher? Isn't he?
But do you not think he'd put the effort in to know? Like I know George R. Martin did loads of history on what he would put into his books versus what was like historically correct. Like
he still uses taverns though. It's like a device.
But that's what I mean. Did George not even double check to say that taverns would have been used as a gossip?
It's just accepted now though. So you know what I mean? Like it's just
I just think who are we to say that it wasn't the case?
I'm saying it's not the case. I
disagree.
I'm saying right now it's not the case. Absolutely not. But like when you're looking at the history and stuff like that, like Tolkien leaves out loads of shit on purpose just to make it better. If it's the medieval period, or you assume it's something medieval, there's no fucking sickness. Nobody's dropping dead of the flu, which happened all the time because there's no penicillin or any shit like that. There's no religion, which was the driving force of life for like 3,000 years before fucking 1920 or whatever. You know what I mean? He drops all that shit, and then so. It's not like he's in any way trying to be realistic. Obviously, there's orcs and stuff.
Didn't he say something like he didn't want to match real life? And there's a word he called it. Allegory?
Allegory, he hated allegory,
Yeah. So like he wanted to maybe copy history, but not, the themes of the day.
Like he wanted to create like
fake history or
like England and the United Kingdom in general, not so much Ireland, but over there they have no like mythology. That we have Cuchulainn, and like the Greeks have Zeus and Hercules, and the Norwegians have Thor. England don't have any of that shit. They've got nothing. So he wanted to just create that. He was like, fuck it, I'll make it up.
Fucking too right, because I was thinking about this during the week. It's like, how it's possible that like give it 100 years, 200 years, 1,000 years, if someone finds the Lord of the Rings and just pretends it's the Bible.
I can't believe they carried on like this. This is mad.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, and then somebody takes it as gospel. Like, somebody takes it as truth.
There was dragons and orcs.
This Theoden fella had a fucking awful time altogether. No, but
there's such a good history of it. Like, he's documented it well. I mean, it's believable.
Class chapter though. I love it. They're in the pub. They don't trust anyone. Everyone's looking at them. There's a weirdo in the corner smoking. Even more about him later. But I love this. I think I say it all the time, but this might be my new favorite chapter. I just like it even half as much.
Every chapter we read, like Ross, this is my favorite.
This
chapter.
is my actual favorite chapter. Yeah.
It's just because you're remembering how fucking good the book is.
So good.
It's all new to me though, which is fucking. It's so much better.
Yeah.
It's just class.
And there's a couple of characters in the pub. So we've touched on Barlowman Butterbar, who in fairness seems like a likeable fella. We talked on Nob, and Bob is conspicuously missing. Probably knobbing someone. Sorry, he's probably bobbing someone. And
Old Harry the gatekeep.
Old Harry. Yeah. There's the squint-eyed southerner.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Do you think that is somebody who's like squinting, or was Tolkien being racist?
I'd say it was someone squinting.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that, just because I want to go with that.
Yeah.
So he was a lad that they suspected that they didn't trust was this southern fella. He brought news of trouble and that there'll be more people moving up from the south. And that didn't please anyone. And then he follows them outside. Bum, bum, bum. But even before we get there, what would he do going to the pub? I honestly think, again, Mary's the only one with a bit of fucking sense. He stays behind.
Yeah, he stays in the room, doesn't he?
They go to the pub, like.
Yeah.
3 of them
go straight to their room, yeah.
No, they're staying in the tavern, and then there's the common room.
Yeah, I thought the pub and the inn was the same thing. So Mary was just up in his room while the lads were drinking in the pub, which was in the same building. Like.
Yeah.
I think it needs to be said, though, that, like, compared to the film, they don't just arrive into the pub. They arrive to him, and maybe they're in the common room, but they do go straight to the room first.
He's like shouting and working, like carrying pints by them when he first walk in. So it seems like they walk into the bar and then get brought off separately and then come back. Mary doesn't come back.
Yeah, and Mary does, because he's the only sensible.
He's like,
only sensible one.
Nah, too much queer shit going on. Need to get out of here.
So they had the choice to stay in the room, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But that's the thing. They got a really good meal, and they had, according to Sam, they had some of the best beer they ever tasted.
Sam loves beer, doesn't he?
And they were obviously drinking away, and then they heard laughing and joking and stuff, and they were like, actually, we'll probably just tip down because we're having a few pints in the room. It's just natural at this stage, isn't it?
We'll have a few down here now.
Just have a few pints.
Oh, and they've nearly got murdered, like less than 8 hours ago.
Yeah, twice. Once by a tree.
I know. But that just shows how fucking
good the pints were.
That the lads, how good the pints were, and how stupid.
Hobbits, I suppose, yeah. Well, if there's a good pint will do that to you.
You get giddy, you go for another.
Sam and Frodo are just so irresponsible so far.
I mean, I suppose.
And Mary.
Who here among us hasn't nearly missed an airplane because the pints were lovely? You know, let the first man without sin cast a stone. You know,
airplanes, buses, everything.
The pints are lovely. They're lovely. All right, you've sold me. You're dead right. I won't give out to them anymore. Mary's maybe just a dry shite, not sensible.
Yeah, it's like an Irish tradition that if you're like in your early 20s going on holiday, you're going to take a picture of your passport, your pint, and then nearly miss the gate.
Yeah, that's just
rite of passage.
So once they get down into the pub, boys, I'm saying again, I actually think I'm starting to hate Pippin.
Yeah, because he's mouthing off again.
Pippin's also way younger than the rest of them as well. You have to remember that.
Not by much though. Like he's still 30.
He's even described as a ridiculous hobbit.
At this stage, Pippin is 28, which is I think Pippin's 28.
Your age.
Frodo is but again, hobbits only fully mature at 33.
Yeah,
that'd be about time for me as well.
But they've still lived for 28 years. You know, they mightn't reach physical maturity, but you know, they've still lived for 28 years where they should know cop on at the age of 15. Like.
Yeah, but their experiences are very limited. They don't leave the Shire or do anything.
It's true.
Mary is the brandy buck. You know, he's supposed to be the mad, not that ridiculous fella. Like.
But he's well travelled though, isn't he?
Yeah, no, because he's the calm one. He's the one been like, I've got brandy buck in me here. I know what I'm about. I
suppose, yeah. He drops his name as well, doesn't he?
Yeah.
You know who I am. So it's the brandy bucks who get about the place and live in Brandy Hall across the river. Strange folk.
Pippin's actually meant to be the more adventurous one, yet he is the most level-headed of the lot of them.
No, Mary, you mean, yeah.
Ah, lads.
Mary a Doc Brandy Buck.
Yeah, the brandy bucks live across the river and they're mad.
Yeah.
Peregrine Took is young and excitable.
Yeah. Just loving pints.
Well, he's a fucking gobshite anyway because Pippin just causes a scene straight away and he starts telling people about the ring and everything. Yeah. And Bilbo is like, he puts on his magic saying he disappears.
Like the only thing they have to do is not talk about Baggins, and he mentions Bilbo straight away.
First story he has about the Shire.
I was literally reading it up in bed, shouting at the book.
It was the second story he had. He had that other weird story about the roof caving in and Mitchell delving or whatever way you say it.
The mayor, yeah. He came out looking like a flour dumpling or something.
So they have, I can't remember
A flour dumpling.
a dumpling, yeah. I was like, oh, so they have dumplings there in the Shire.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well spotted, Oisin.
I always associate dumplings with like East Asia,
Yeah.
not with the Shire, but you know, they got some Asian fusion there.
Good dumpling. Alright, anyway.
I had to Google, in the bar, he describes a Breelander as swarthy. I don't know if you've Googled what that word meant.
Is that the stuff that you use to take grease off your hands? Schwartz.
No. So the Breelander is a swarthy character. And I Googled it because it means a dark complexion. So that means like there's different, like this place has people of different skin complexions. Like
It's a melting pot.
definitely outsiders.
Melting
Like
pot.
It is a melting pot. Yeah, it's a crossroads, isn't it? Moving on, lads. Moving on. The boys are down in the pub. Mary causes an awful fucking ruckus. And in the meantime, Frodo catches the eye of a fella sitting in the corner. I can't decide what's cooler, Aragorn's introduction in the movie or the book. The fella in the corner smoking pipe. We've already heard about the Rangers.
See-
Strange folk.
Is that not the only part that was copied like for the movie versus the book? They're both smoking a long slanted pipe.
yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, what is different in the movie than the book?
I would say that the big difference, in my opinion, was that in the movie, you just see Aragorn first, and the bit I always remember is the pipe smoke lights up his eyes under the hood.
You don't
Yeah,
see
that
his
stands out
eyes
to me.
in the film.
Of course, it's hard for a book to do that.
And he's got his feet on a stool, hasn't he?
Yeah, whereas in this, we had the kind of build up where in the Breeland description they said, oh, and to the east there was, the Rangers go around and nobody knows what they do.
On their long shanks.
Yeah, and they're taller than the rest of them, and we know they're different and they're strange. And then there's all these little hints
They
at
talk to animals.
yeah,
as
and
well.
they've strange little, they see different and hear different, and it's even hinted at there that Aragorn can hear everything that Frodo's talking about across the room.
Yeah, that's class.
And all this kind of stuff, like it's much more kind of subtly built up to this lad. I thought, and compared to the movie, we're like, who's that man in the corner? Oh my god!
Yeah, no, it's a good
Yeah,
point. It's a
no,
good point.
that's-
You miss all that, I suppose, in the film.
I suppose that's just the extra detail you get in the book over film.
Yeah.
Both class though.
The movie is definitely kind of a watered down.
I like the image. Like the movie does the image does it justice. Like of him sitting there with the pipe, like, and you see his eyes. And you just imagine this big long pipe, and like,
Yeah, the hood up.
Yeah, and they hit it on the fucking button.
Yeah,
like,
they
you
hit
really
it
have
on
to
the
give
nail.
it to Peter Jackson for making the visuals exactly what the book reads like.
yeah.
Yeah,
And there's so much of the book that he doesn't copy, obviously, and I like where he's diverted. But for the scenes that matter,
Yeah. Introduction to one of the main characters, like
yeah, the
probably,
big stuff.
When Barleyman is talking to Frodo, when Frodo asks who's that fella over in the corner, Barleyman is saying, "Oh, he's a ranger. He does be creeping around. His name's Strider, but he says he does be creeping around on his long shanks." But in the movie,
Sam.
when Sam first meets Strider, he bursts into the room and "I'll have you, long shanks."
Yeah.
So I like the kind of the call back to that as well. That was nice.
I'll have you, Longshanks. That's a great
And
one.
so Frodo fair fucks him, just walks straight up to him, which he doesn't do in the movie. He's kidnapped by him in the movie, isn't he? But he walks up and be like, "Hey, who are you?"
Hobbit napped.
No bother to him. No bother to him. And Aragorn is just like, "Here, your friend over there is, he's talking about the ring, yeah? You better stop that."
So it goes to show you can hear that as well. Like, whereas
he
Frodo
can
didn't.
just pick out different conversations across a room, apparently.
I think one of my favourite parts about reading the appendices, or is it the appendice? What's the thing at the front? The prologue? The introduction before the prologue, which you cut me off on very rudely in the first episode. Thanks for that.
Sorry, Bull. I didn't know you were holding that there for.
Anyway,
10 episodes.
he actually called Strider Trotter. He was
Trotter.
going to call Strider Trotter.
Oh wow, good call.
Oh,
Strider.
Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
my
Jesus.
God.
My
What's
God.
your name?
Trotter.
My name is Trotter.
Just going around on his tippy toes.
Yeah.
He,
Like a pig or something.
thank God he named him Strider.
What his right name is, I never heard.
Yeah.
But it was good that they built up and said, "Oh, these boys have secret powers of sight and hearing." And then obviously he's just like, "I can hear your mate there. You want to go over and interrupt him pronto?"
Yeah.
And Frodo goes over to interrupt him in the worst possible manner.
Standing on top of a table.
Yeah. Did anyone else think that song was just way too long?
So
it went on for like 2 pages of the chapter.
It didn't even rhyme.
It was like a limerick.
The Cat and the Fiddle.
Yeah.
But it was
It's
like a
it's a thing
4-liner
in the
and then an
real
extra
world,
5th
right?
line that just fucking ruined it. It's like, give me the punchline, give me the rhyme that ends with the fucking 3rd line, and you took an extra line to do it.
Yeah.
Jumped over the moon.
Yeah, it's like an elongated version of that. But even in the thing he said, it's still sang now, but only a few lines are remembered. Didn't it say that in the chapter?
The poor bastards had to listen to it twice in the pub.
Yeah, I know. And they loved
They
it.
were loving it.
They loved
were loving it. They were lost.
They asked for it twice.
Somebody show me a link to somewhere where this is sang in a way that actually sounds good, because I tried to read it in every which way.
I read it the way because I remember in someone sings it. I don't know where I've seen it. It could be fucking outtakes or something. I've seen it. But so the first 3 lines are the first 3 lines, and then the 4th and the 5th line are basically one long line that you have to rhyme the last word of the 3rd line with the last word of the 5th line. So you have the 4th and the 5th line are basically one long last line to rhyme it in with.
Fuck that. I just breezed through it.
Too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a shame. I like the songs and the poems, but that bit is just fucking nonsense.
Yeah.
And did you pick up the wee bit that the ring there had a bit of personality? It was like
Tricked him.
you know, it was like some desire came from outside the room or something. He says to put the ring on.
Like that could have been the fucking Black Rider outside going, quick on, put on.
You know, I got a hot take on this. It's kind of ridiculous. It's kind of ridiculous.
Right? Is it
but
tepid or hot? Oh, so it's hot. Okay.
no, yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. Like that the other guy, so the squint-eyed southerner, I was imagining that, I don't know why, he probably isn't even southern, like, but that it was someone like Grima Wormtongue, that he was happened to be there at the time working for Sauruman, and that it said in the chapter Frodo felt like there was a force in the room or something like that trying to put his will on the ring, and I was like, maybe it's this squint-eyed southerner, whoever he is. Grima Wormtongue just came to my head, but probably not. Like,
is the ring not strong enough in itself because it has so much of Sauron's power that I could just ask him to do it by itself?
Oh yeah, very well could be.
Could be a half truth you've landed on there, Oisin. Your man, the Southerner, is very suspicious, and it's more than likely that this close to Isengard, you know, he's probably working for Saruman versus the Mordor.
Yeah.
And then I suppose who knows what the Sauron lad is up to either.
Because Mordor is south, right?
Yeah, it's very far away, but so is Isengard. Isengard's south too.
Yeah.
Mordor's southeast, isn't it?
Yeah, it was very far south.
Yeah.
Very far, very south.
I had the question actually when I first started listening, it was talking about where Bree is and where everybody came from, and it even mentions the Númenóreans without mentioning them. And
the old kings. Or whatever.
Valinor's in the west, over the sea. And then you have the west is the Shire, basically. And there's even stuff further
well,
than
Gondor's
the
the west as well.
Yeah.
That's all the west, yeah.
Gondor's Gondor's east of the Shire, but it's still west.
Yeah, but that's still the west.
The
it's
Misty
a massive
Mountains
continent.
kind of cuts it in the middle.
The Misty Mountains would
What's east of Mordor?
It's called Ruin.
And what's east of Ruin?
The
when does it end?
Just water. Isn't it?
No, there's a sea, the far side. It's a continent. We basically spend our time in Europe. You know what I mean? Think of it that way. And east of the Mirkwood, you'd say everything east of that is like central Middle Earth, and Mirkwood to the Shire is the west. Yeah. So to the east of that, that's where the Blue Wizards went. But yeah, that's what it is. There's loads of shit over there. That's where the Easterlings came from, and they were fighting for Sauron, but not all of them went because the Blue Wizards did their job, and load of shit over there. Yeah, load of mad bastards. Just like that. But I suppose, like, because kind of that's another trope of fantasy where, like, it's a bastardization of Europe. Pretty much always on the west of the map or whatever. Typical.
I think, Bull, you put in, like, into our WhatsApp group, like, the journey that Sam and Frodo took versus the journey that Bilbo took to the Lonely Mountain. Did that give a time? It'd just be funny to see a map of Europe and see how long they took and where would they get from, let's say, fucking wherever they started.
Yeah. I'd like to see the size of Middle-earth versus, like, the real world. Because you know the way in Game of Thrones, it's not the size of England. It's actually the size of South America.
And from north to south,
is the size of Brazil. Like, it's not just Newcastle or whatever.
Yeah.
Even though the map in Game of Thrones is like the UK inverted.
It looks like that, yeah, but it's actually the size of
it's
South America.
4
Some
times
work
the
it
size.
out by the length of distance it took to ride on a horse.
From the wall of
It
the
took
King's Landing.
six weeks to get up the King's Road. Yeah.
Didn't you say though it takes longer for a horse? Not that it takes longer. It's like we use horses because they will walk longer than we will, but
Yeah, and you'd save your energy.
And also they can carry a shitload
we're
of stuff.
slower than we are faster than horses.
Only if you sprint out, yeah, but that's why the marathon distance is the marathon. You know, if you maybe go for 400 miles, you might not be able to keep up with a horse.
Yeah, I doubt.
You know what I mean?
And also you
And
couldn't
I
carry a
think-
big bag of stuff on your back doing 400 miles.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, not with that attitude.
I'm pretty sure back in the day, if you're a man of means and you're going far, you'd take 2 horses and alternate
carry
which
your
ones you
stuff,
sat.
I have a question about that. They have 5 horses with them.
Yeah.
And
That interests me as well.
Bob, poor Bob, that we never get to meet, God bless his soul, has to mind 5 horses. I'm like, oh, there's 4 of them. What's this 5th
Pack
horse
horse,
doing?
yeah.
Was Fatty
Okay, pack
Lumpkins
horse.
there?
He's got a backup
Yeah.
horse?
Maybe the 5th horse just carries
That's,
all the
I
luggage.
thought they took Tom's horse. That's what I thought. Yeah.
I don't think so.
What? No, Tom must have took his horse home.
Tom jumped on
Right,
Fatty
so
Lumpkin.
I actually wrote down the names of the horses. So you have Sharp Ears, White Nose, Swishtail, Bumpkin, and White Socks. He gave them an extra horse for all their stuff, I think, and then 4 for the
Pack
bag.
horse.
So
Yeah.
they just got a pack horse. Jeez. Living the life these boys there.
There you go.
Well, anyway, and then Frodo falls over, or he puts the ring on by accident, and then he runs out of the room.
He sneaks under the table beside Strider, doesn't he?
No, that's his excuse.
Yeah, but he actually just legs it. And Strider's out there waiting for him. She's like, geez, like, you shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have done that.
Is he? Oh, I imagined that he just went back into the corner where Strider was.
No, because the Southerner goes out to the hallway to follow him. And that's why he's so suspicious. He's like, what's going on out here?
Ah, man, I read that so different. But okay.
So did I. I thought they just, as soon as he disappeared, they all fucked off out the door. But he stayed where he was.
Yeah, like Frodo
He was just
stayed in the room.
he just runs into the corner and puts his back up against something. I thought.
Yeah.
They all ran out the room
they all
looking
left,
for
is
him.
what I thought. They were like, oh, fuck, what's something weird's going on in here, get me out.
And then the Southerner stuck around looking for him or something. He just looks suspicious anyway.
Yeah. Not everyone left. And then Frodo went into the corner near where Strider was and hid under the table or something.
In my head, the Southerner has a Cork accent.
Of course.
So that's as far south as you can go. So, yeah.
Any further and you're swimming.
He's a langer. Yeah.
Is he the guy?
You have the ring, boy.
Is he the guy who says at the class line, I saw what I saw and I saw what I didn't? I'm like, ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Like that.
I also like Barlaman as well. He didn't turn into tin air, more like he turned into fat air. Like, all right, Barlaman. All right. Fuck,
Actually, looked at like
you know, fucking oil painting yourself. Like,
there is a fat air in pubs.
yeah, I thought he was calling Frodo fat.
No, apparently not.
I thought that was like the musk you get when you walk into a stodgy pub, you know.
Just thick air.
Yeah, it's the smell
Probably
of
full
beer
of
and-
pipe weed and everything.
God
Yeah.
knows what's going on there.
No smoking bans back then.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. No
Farts
smoking
in
ban.
that room.
feet and the end of work.
Imagine dwarf farts. Ooh, God.
Yeah.
Mm.
Dwarf farts.
Dwarf farts. Yeah, there was a few dwarfs in there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
all sorts.
This is the thing, there was so many different groups of people in there. It's like, who are you meant to pay attention to? So like, squinty-eyed Southerner didn't stand out to me.
Who's important?
Radar. Oh, yeah. He's not squinty-eyed, he's squint-eyed. We're just walking through a minefield here, lads.
The Southerner is what we call him now.
And so then, what happens at the end then?
The Breelander seems to know something. He's got a half mocking, half knowing expression on his face. Like, what does he half know? He half knows Frodo disappeared using a ring? What's half of that? He knows Frodo has a ring? I don't know.
Oh, I was meant to mention something as well, that like, what are the chances that Frodo picks the name Underhill and then meets a load of Underhills
Stop
in the
it.
fucking pub?
Yeah.
And like, oh, Frodo, who
Long
are you?
lost cousin.
Who you're-
Is that not a good sign though?
Yeah.
Is that not why he picked it, you know? Because they're like, oh, there's so many of us. It's like picking Smith.
yeah.
And then some cheeky wee pup was like, alright, I know the Shire. Where do you live? Who are you related to?
Yeah.
Sugar.
And there are people like that.
Always, no matter
there
where
are
you
people
go.
like that.
Yeah.
Like, do you ever just hang around West of Ireland? It's like, What do you mean your granny's in McManus? From where?
Yeah, what about
From
that?
where? Yeah. And who's our brother? Yeah. What's your connection to the Hill of the Rock? There are nosy fuckers everywhere.
But Frodo, when he goes in and he meets the Underhills, he explains to them that the reason he's there is because he's writing a book about hobbits that are not local to the Shire. And like a perfect place for him to do that would be the Prancing Pony. And then
good excuse.
He explains that to them and says, right, good luck, I'm over to drink on my own now.
Yeah.
Like, way to fucking play the character, Frodo. Jesus.
He lasted about 10 seconds.
Yeah, Frodo. It's not his finest hour, this chapter in general. Yeah, not his finest hour, I don't think. And I've been a big fan of him to date. But yeah, when you lay it out like that,
he's done it. He had a hard chapter last chapter, so like he's done his jobs.
Yeah.
Any hot takes, gentlemen? We've already had one scalding hot take from Ocean.
Too hot. So hot, it's ridiculous. I have one more that's not a hot take. I just have an insult I liked. Woolly-footed slow coach. Just there you go.
Yeah,
that's that's what Barliman calls knob, I think.
Knob. Yeah, he does.
Yeah, woolly-footed slow coach.
Woolly-footed.
Yeah.
So he's a hobbit then.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely. It says he's a hobbit.
It says him.
Is that a slur? Do you reckon?
That reminds me of Father Ted. Do you remember your man Himalaya Joe?
Yeah.
That was a medical condition.
But if all hobbits have hairy feet, then surely that is, it's like a trait of their race. Barlaman, I think he just got cancelled.
Oh, there you go.
Not very woke.
There you go. That's my hot take. Barlaman, scumbag.
Yeah. Can't be,
He's a sign of his times, I suppose. He was a sign of his times.
Well,
What about the Bree surnames? I like the idea of not carrying on your surname and just making up something that just was a trait of, your character at your age. So like my son would be called I like the surname Longhole. So like Fionn Longhole.
He'd be Fionn-Janier.
Fionn-Janier, I like it.
That's good. That's good.
But Tolkien has he has a thing about naming people after what they do or what they're known for.
That's what happened in England, to be fair, though. Like blacksmiths or smiths. And
But a few examples. So the men, Rushlight, Goatleaf, Heather Toes, Appledore, and Thistlewood, and Fernie. But
what the fuck does Appledore do?
Yeah. They're a bit weird, but the hobbits are more, you'd understand it more. So it's Banks, Brockhouse, Longholes, Sandheaver, and Tunnelly. Looks like,
Why would you want to be a long hole? What benefit is that to their name?
I presume it's just because they first dug long holes, or...
If you had a choice between being a long hole or a heavy hole...
Why are you a heavy hole?
Or a proud
foot. You're going to pick long
feet.
hole, aren't you? Like?
Actually, as well, in the start of the chapter, it said something like, if the hobbits needed a nap, or needed, to get away, they'd literally just dig a hole and sleep in it. And they were known as tramps.
Yeah. That felt bad, didn't it?
Yeah. But it's like homeless people that just walked around the place, and if they needed a home, they just dug a hole in a hill and slept in it.
I was thinking like that.
Like a badger.
But then, what happens when that area's Tom Bombadillo comes along and is like, hey, I'm the king of this place. Git.
He doesn't think he's king, though. I feel like the Willow thinks he's king.
Would he be happy with some lad just digging a hole in one of his hills or one of the hills in his domain and just letting you live there? I don't know.
Would you ever find out if Tom didn't like it? Tom would just look at you and then go, Willow, eat that cunt up.
I think, okay, I've got a hot take. Tom Bombadil is angry landlord. Some sort of tyrant landlord. Kicking people out of these little hobbit holes that they're digging.
But he's just after taking in 4 new hobbits. So.
Tom Crombadil.
Is it ever described what the currency is? Like, how are they paying for this?
Currency definitely haven't been mentioned.
Oh, he says he has to pay the next morning. Doesn't matter if he disappears as long as he pays the next morning.
Yeah.
But never with what.
And it's usually like an emperor, isn't it? What would you call them? Mordorians or like...
No.
Gandalfians. Sarumanians.
In one of the earlier episodes, Ross, we talked about a bartering system, but when it comes to here...
Take that pony.
Maybe that's why he is the 5th pony. 20 pints for a
They
pony.
did find a load of treasure in the last chapter. Maybe they took it with them.
Yeah, maybe Tom gave them a bit for their...
Cash dollar.
Yeah.
Frodo's load.
Make it rain.
Have I mentioned that the boys in 9 chapters have never missed a meal? And if they miss a meal, they'll fucking
Oh,
let you know.
dead right.
And if they do, they make up for it.
Sometimes they double up as well. They'll just say, well, we've already had dinner, but we'll go again.
45 minutes they were eating cheese.
Yeah, I was about to say
Crackers
that.
in the
45 minutes straight they were eating.
Hey, if you go to Brie, you're telling me you're not going to eat some cheese?
Yeah.
In real life.
Oh, they have the best cheese in Brie, I'd say. Unreal
Yeah.
stuff.
I'm a hard cheese man myself. Like,
Oh, no. Brie, Camembert, get into it.
Oh, Camembert.
I actually don't know what they are.
They're just the soft cheeses that come in the wheels.
Cheese casual.
Can't be a coincidence. Like a middle class fella like Tolkien, like he knew his
absolutely.
cheeses. Like it can't be a coincidence that he called it Brie. That's my hot take.
Jesus Christ.
That's my hot take.
What about, I've just a question for everyone. I think it's like Mary that says when the lads go from the room to the pub, Mary says, mind your P's and Q's.
Yeah, I love it.
What does that mean?
Oh, have you never heard that before? I know that.
No, I've never
It's a
heard that
saying
before.
when you like, don't be swearing.
But I actually Googled, I think this must have been the first time I read this book. I must have Googled this. I can't see why I thought I would have. It's like an old term for mind your manners, and it comes from mind your pints and quarts, because a quarts is half a pint.
Oh.
That's what I don't know why they say that.
So what? Don't
but
get
that's-
spiked?
I don't know why they say it.
Don't get scuttled.
Yeah.
A quartz?
A quarts, so a pint, it's like a measure of a unit of volume
Yeah.
for
Is he like
liquid.
saying don't get drunk?
No way.
I
I
don't
thought
know.
it was something to do about like, don't be cursing at boys.
Yeah, no, it means mind your manners, but what it physically means, the P means pint and Q means quarts. I don't. That's,
Class.
There you go.
Class.
Thanks for
there
that.
you go. You learned something.
Well, they should have listened to him. I suppose it all worked out. Defend our
I got half the information. That's useless.
right. Any other hot takes, boys, or will I leave her now?
Yeah, I couldn't find a hot take in this one.
Oh, I like the phrase "strange as news from Brie." I might start using that.
News from Brie,
And
yeah.
I think I could
Strangest
bring
news-
that into my normal everyday conversation.
How like strangest news from our boy.
Yeah.
I say it's just because Brie is like the epicenter of news. Like,
Yeah,
that's where the elves meet, the dwarves meet, the Dunedain meet. So it's like,
That's where you get the queer news from.
Strangest news from heaven.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From Drad.
At loan. Jesus.
Right, boys, I think we leave her there. So on that lovely note, have we anything to plug or anything? No. Well, if we do have a plug, we leave a segment here.
Plug the socials.
Yeah, the social media is well said, Oisin. Join us on the socials. We have Instagram. What's our Instagram on?
Instagram is just Drunk Talk Podcast. Type that in, you'll find us. And the Twitter is @Drunk Talk. And you'll get us there too. And don't forget to jump on to, what's it called? Patreon, lads?
Patreon, yeah.
Patreon. Give it your patronage.
Haircuts have just become legal again here in Northern Ireland, where Oisin and I live. So I need one badly. Patreon, if you want to step in there, it's fine. If not, it's also fine. Don't really care. Bull, is there anything else you think? Any bit of housekeeping?
So I'm going to do a bit of housekeeping after the fact, and do a shout out to fourcorners.ie. They are an importer and distributor of about 150 beers and ciders from across the world. They do, just speaking of ciders now, I wouldn't be a cider man myself, but they do like Maison Sassy, Craig cider. But get into the beers are where that's at. They have like Icelandic beers, they have Danish beers. We got some Mikkeller, some Two Old. They have Dot Brew, got a few of them off them. I think they have some Beavertown as well, loads of others. We got some Whiplash off them. It saves us buying them next week. Really appreciative. Looking forward to diving into those cans. I think I got a dessert beer which looks fairly feckin' tasty. A shout out to Kieran O'Connell who works for them. I think he went out of his own pocket to pay for 4 beers from Carlingford Brewing Company as well, which was really, really sound. That was like almost like his own patronage. So yeah, just it's fourcorners.ie. So if you're a pub or an off license, you're looking to set up an account to get more craft beers in your stock, check them out.
So that's everything from me. Oisin, say goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Oh.
Bye, lads. Thanks for listening. Good to have you. Keep listening.
Yeah, same again. Thanks for listening. Bye bye.
Right. Go on. Fuck off. Go on.